Hi boys and girls, here's a fun optional lesson to celebrate Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a holiday where we celebrate all the men and women who have fought for our country in any of the wars. The poppy, these flowers here, came to symbolize hope and thanks for the veterans who fought in the war. The veterans are what we call soldiers that have fought in the war. And the poppy became a symbol of remembrance, to remember the soldiers, because they were the first flowers that bloomed after World War I in Belgium and France in the battlegrounds where they had fought. This holiday means a lot to me because I think about my father here. This is my dad, Emmanuel Biancoli. He fought in World War II, and on this day and many days throughout the year, I give thanks to my dad for doing his part in helping keep our country safe. So this is a lesson basically about foreground, middle ground, and background. I'm just going to do a really tiny one here. And foreground is in the front, middle ground is in the middle, and background is behind. So we can start with a simple horizon line. Basically just a line dividing the sky and the land, and giving us a point of reference that this isn't a flat piece of paper anymore, or giving the illusion, but we're going into the picture plane. There's distance. And you can start by simply just doing some flowers in the front, some larger flowers. And then in the middle row here, you can do some medium flowers. Make them a little smaller than the front ones. And then back here, we're going to do some really tiny ones to make it look like they're farther away. These are just kind of organic shape blobs I'm doing. If you'd like to add clouds or a sun, you go right ahead. This is your drawing. It's just a way that we can remember veterans on Veterans Day. I'm going to use my watercolor pencils. If you did have a crayon though, a crayon would be a great way to make these poppies, and then you could add water and go right through them, and the crayon would not go away. It would resist the water. But I'm just going to use my watercolor pencils because that's all I have right now. And I'm not going to make the centers of the flowers either. Not yet, because I'm going to add water to turn them into paint, and I don't want the black center to blur. So I'm doing a really quick job coloring these in. When you're going to add water to these pencils, you don't really need to color them in really well, because the water is going to activate the pigment inside the pencil and spread it all around with your paintbrush. The pigment is what gives these colored pencils or any paint the color. Pigments used to come from the earth, but now they can manufacture them. Some still come from the earth. Okay, so I'm going to just add a blue sky, and I am going to go around my clouds so they do not become blue. And now I'm going to add a little bit of water with the brush. Now I still haven't added the middle to my poppies because the center, the black center, because I'm going to add some water to them now. Trying to kind of spread out my pencil lines. Rinse off my brush. I'm going to come and go and do the green, but I'm going to try to stay away from the red. If you hit the red, you'll see it turns to brown a little bit, because red and green are opposites on our color wheel, and when you mix them together, they'll create a neutral color, or a brown or a gray. So I'm trying to stay away because I want my poppies to be nice and bright. That's why I was thinking if you did have a red crayon to color the poppies, then you didn't have to worry about this step of going in and making sure you're not going to blend the colors together. You could just go right through with the crayon. And then after I add that water, I'm going to add my centers to my flowers. Sometimes people wear poppies on Veterans Day to give thanks for all the soldiers. Maybe you could take a moment today to give thanks for our soldiers who are still fighting in the war and who have fought in past wars.